Hi, everyone. Hope you had a happy new year. Yeah, thanks again for 10,000 subscribers. Really appreciate it. Glad you guys like watching the videos as much as I like making them. So I see we already have 9 people in. I'm sure more people will trickle in. I'm going to do my best to stay up to date with the chat. Always fall behind, but I'll do my best. If you guys can hear me, just let me know. I'm hoping you're able to, but unless I hear differently, I'll assume you guys can. So I see Spaghetti Jeff said thoughts on the Blue Streak fire. I'm not surprised that Blue Streak ultimately met its demise because the new owner clearly didn't want to have amusement rides. It is unfortunate that no one was able to get their last rides on it. Went in that way, but I'm not surprised it happened. Hello, Thomas Van Horn, Twisted Whiskers. Where do you live? I live in Massachusetts. Hello, Coaster Dash. Congrats to you as well for getting a 10,000 recently. Hello, Raymond Gillibert, or Gillabout. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Hello, Eric. Hello, Top Hat Coasters. Hello, GT Coasters. Hello, Skyrish Fanboy. Hello, Minnesota Thrills. Thank you, Western New York Coasters. Hello, Julian Dale. Are you going to organize some type of meetup this year? I'd love that. I don't plan to do meetups just because if you see me at park, definitely say hi, but I don't necessarily plan to ever do a meetup just because of how, I might be visiting a park just for a short amount of time. I might be coming in the late afternoon. There's no guarantee, what my schedule will be on a given day. Thank you, Quacken. King Game and Roblox. What is your favorite video you made in 2021? Not necessarily 2021 because it sort of spilled over this year, but probably my favorite coasters video just because it's always fun to, look at my list. Stanford Bridge. You're the most prolific coaster YouTuber by far. I'm always in awe. Do you think you can keep up this pace for long? Until I go back in the office, I should be able to. Not having to use an hour each day, an hour each way commuting each day is time I wasn't used to having previously. Hello, Hang Time Thrills. Hello, Ryan Freeman. Hello, Coaster Scorpion. Hello, Kavanaugh Larson. Hello, Kat Ashworth. Hello, Arlo Production. Yeah, I agree, Skyrish Fanboy. Blue Streak had some great airtime in those first 3 drops. Hello, King Game and Roblox. Hello, Coaster Platypus. Twisted Whiskers. Can you make a review of Dorney Park? I have a favorite rides video for Dorney Park coming down the pipeline in a few weeks. I want to review a few more of the coasters that I haven't gotten to yet before doing a full review of the park. Western New York Coasters, what's your strategy for visiting so many parks? I've been lucky. I've been able to do a lot of traveling for work. And, if I'm doing multiple parks, in a day or a trip, I basically map out which rides I want to get on, figure out how much time I need, and then give myself probably an extra hour buffer from what I expect, just so you're not really rushing through a park. If you're rushing, you sometimes don't get to enjoy it. Hello, Gerald Glasper. Hello, Easily Offensive. I'm glad you enjoyed the reviews. Amusement Now, can you tutor me in AP Physics? AP Physics, I haven't taken that class in probably 10 years at this point. Yeah, that class is hard, but best of luck, especially the electrical and magnetism part. Thomas Van Horn, do you ever get to ride Megazeth? No, I never made it to Six Flags New Orleans. Big Guy Sports Collector, hello. Upside Down, hello. I know it's late in Belgium, but I appreciate you being here. Gerald Glasper, what's your favorite state for roller coasters? So I think Pennsylvania is probably the best state for coasters because not only is Pennsylvania loaded, between both wood and steel coasters, but you're right next to some other great states too, like Ohio and New Jersey and New York, and also get to New England, Virginia pretty easily. The Quacken, what editing software to use? I use DaVinci Resolve. Very powerful, but you just need to have, it's free. Usually make sure you have a strong computer. Twisted Whiskers, thoughts on the new entrance at Castaway Cove? I'm glad they're getting an entrance back. It felt naked this year without it. Scourish Fanboy, you're getting to Kings Island, Holiday World, and Kentucky Kingdom this year. Yeah, Voyage is amazing, so hopefully you enjoy it. Adrenaline Central, favorite country for coasters? Probably United States, just because of the quantity and quality. Skyrish fanboy, out of all your defunct credits, which one do you miss the most? Probably Dueling Dragons, especially when it dueled. Coaster Dash, any plans to hit China or other Asian countries when they reopen from the pandemic? Those are two countries I probably will have to go to eventually for work at some point. So to answer, yes. I just don't know when it's going to happen because I feel like those countries might be some of the latest to reopen. Eric Thompson, yeah, Blue Streak was sort of bad to the point where it was funny, but it did have some good airtime too. Hello, Big C. Hello, King Game and Roblox. What's the worst ride you've ever ridden? Coaster Express. Long, painful, and the elements are bad even if it was smooth. Insane Coaster Junkie with Blue Streak at Kanye at Lake Park on. Where do you rank it in your list? Off the top of my head, I probably had that one in the ballpark of the 70s in my wood coaster list, so it's probably about in the middle of the wood coasters I've been on. Stamford Bridge, you may visit the UAE in the spring. Does any one particular recommendation come to mind? Even if you're not a big water park person, I strongly recommend considering Atlantis Aquaventure. That is the best water park in the world. In terms of getting around there, Uber was very easy, and it was surprisingly cheap, at least compared to what it is back home. Coaster Legacy. Any missed coasters rides during the Europe trip you have loved to try? Greetings from Germany. Thinking back, I got really lucky when there really weren't any major rides that were closed for me. The worst that would happen is there were just a few rapids rides at the parks I had to miss due to just them having long lines. What I noticed, Europeans, they don't care if it's 50 degrees and rainy. They will ride the rides in pretty much any condition. I guess the thing I most missed out on was there were certain rides I wanted to ride in particular seats, but just due to the COVID restrictions, particularly in the Netherlands, you couldn't pick your seat. So that kind of it's understandable, but it was just a little annoying. Benjamin Freeman, what do you think of the new Disney Star Cruiser Resort? It looks really expensive, but it does look cool. I'm sure it's really immersive. I just don't think that ad painted in a good picture. Big C, do you have a list of your favorite flat rides? Better, I have a video of it. Big Guy Sports Collector, Swamp Fox is a very underrated coaster. I did hear it wasn't running as well in 2021 as it was when I rode it in 2020, but I loved it. The airtime with the buzz bars. Hello, Uncle Nate. Hello, Upside Down. Yes, I do hope to get back to Paris in 2023 for Tutatis and the renovated Tunnel de Zeus, or Tezeus, however you're saying that now. Thomas Van Horn, how much longer do you think the Lakeside Cyclone will be around? So I know Lakeside seems like they've had some trouble in the years, but I'm not too familiar with the situation, so I can't give a good estimate. Coaster Dash, what do you do for work? I am a mechanical engineer for a healthcare company. Top Hat Coasters, any flats you recommend at Cedar Point? So I have a video going over the best rides at Cedar Point, but Power Tower gives amazing views. Same with Windseeker. Minnesota Thrills. Yeah, a few of us just all hit 10K at the same time. I think it was coincidental. Twisted Whiskers. Yep, I already talked about the Castaway Cove. Ryan Freeman. I did not get to Williams Grove for the Cyclone, but that ride looks sort of sketchy. Tank Thrills. In your opinion, was the best Wild Mouse and the worst Wild Mouse? Probably my favorite Wild Mouse is Formula One at Park St. Paul, the defunct PAX Wild Mouse that had some ridiculous ejector airtime and the outward bank turns. Worst Wild Mouse, unless I'm missing, Coast Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. Those panini pressed shin guards are disgusting. Crowbar Jones, do you think Six Flags Qiddiya will actually happen? Yeah, I think they just broke ground on it. Like I said, the company backing that has a lot of money, and it's a little bit of a different setup than the last time Six Flags has gone international. King Game and Roblox, what was the best park you ever went to? Disneyland, the original. Love that park and all the theming. I always have a good time there. Skyrish fanboy. Viking roller coaster or Coast Rider, which is worse? Coast Rider, because you're in pain even go up the lift hill from those shin guards. Adrenaline Central. Favorite Universal or Disney park? Disneyland. The Quackens Coaster Channel. Were there any countries in Europe that didn't require masks that you visited? So because of how you have to test negative to come home, I was taking as many precautions as possible. So So, I was wearing it by default, and I wasn't looking if I had to or not. Germany, I believe you had to. The places I don't think you had to, I don't think you had to in Poland or the Netherlands. Everywhere else you may have. Hello, OK Coasters. Love your videos. Nathan Lamoureux, Knott's Giga more likely to happen or no? Thoughts? So I've heard Knott's has never had a ride that's proposed get rejected. They might have to make modifications from a sound perspective. I imagine it's going to happen if Knott's wants it to happen. Easily offensive. Chuck, what park other than Valley Fair and Nick Universe would you recommend for a Minneapolis man? If I think that's pretty close to Iowa, so you can probably get to Adventureland and the brand new Lost Island theme park pretty easily. Creek Freak Massacre fanboy, thoughts on the Smiler? Lots of inversions, very twisted layout, 2 good airtime hills as well. It just gets a little shaky towards the back of the train, but up front it was great. Upside Down, where are the best parks to visit in the USA? I'd say start with Orlando just because you have all the theming down there, and with the amount of roller coasters that place has gotten in the past few years, it's packed with thrills now too. Eric Thompson, you like Coast Rider? Congratulations. I'm glad it doesn't hurt you, but it's too bad for me. Toxic Plays, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, or Tampa? Williamsburg. I prefer the theme. Charge on PC, most anticipated coaster in China. Coaster Through the Clouds is one that really intrigues me, just because, I'm a fan of Intamin Hypers. King Gaming Roblox, have you been on Velocicoaster? Yep, I have a review on it. Love that ride. Twisted Whiskers, they want to build a new roller coaster on the roof of the entrance of Playland's Castaway Cove. So that's the first I've heard of that. That'd be interesting that I do. It'd look really cool from the boardwalk. Keith the King, 25, hello. Alpha Swirl, I'm planning to go to Cedar Point in a few months. Which coaster should you hit first? So that depends if you have early entry or not. I always like to start in Millennium Force because most people tend to go towards Steel Vengeance. And if you go to Millennium Force, you can get a few rides in the front with a very little weight, and Millennium Force up front is amazing. Big C, did you ever get on the Galaxy Coaster Canobie? So that ride always seemed to be closed when I was there. I actually only rode it in one visit, which is pretty sad because I went, in a span of 10 years when that ride was there, but I only got to ride it in one visit. King Game and Roblox, what inspired you to be a YouTube content creator? So I was posting in like message boards and forums, and I just wanted, I had been watching a lot of YouTube and decided to give it a go. Ryan Freeman, you rode I-305 this summer for the first time, but you didn't like it was too intense. I-305 is definitely very intense. I really like the ride, but I just don't like it as much as other enthusiasts because I prefer rides that focus a little more on airtime. Coaster Thrills 45, do you miss Blue Streak? Those first 3 hills were amazing, but it was really rough. Thomas Van Horn, how much longer do you think until Kanye at Lake Park has to announce their permanent closure? So I think it's still going to be operating as like an entertainment venue because even when I was there in 2019 when the ride side was pretty empty, the beach was packed. I just don't know how much longer they'll have amusement rides. Adrenaline Central, interest besides coasters. I love watching and playing sports. Coaster Legacy, you wish you got to ride Formula One. Yeah, that ride's awesome. The Quackens Coaster Channel, thoughts on the smoothest B&M in Maryland? So Firebird is somehow smoothest in the back row. Back there, it's decent. It's short. It's not as good as the other floorless coasters, but I can tolerate back there. Hello, Max Hagenauer. Hello, Sean Meyer. Thoughts on Over Texas? Titan's your favorite hyper coaster. So I prefer hypers that focus more on airtime, but Titan is great for positive Gs if that's what you want in a ride like that. Over Texas looks better than most of the Six Flags parks, and they have a good collection of rides too. Crowbar Jones, what do you think will be better, Pantheon or Iron Gwazi? I think Iron Gwazi, but Pantheon looks amazing too. Which did you prefer? Minnesota Thrills, which Blue Streak was better? I preferred Cedar Points because it was a lot smoother, and that one has a lot of good airtime too. Go Crazy, Go Stupid. What do you think EDP 445 is up to in this current time? Sorry, I don't know what that is. Spaghetti Jeff, favorite video game? Super Smash Brothers. That's a great game to just pick up and play with your friends. Alpha Swirl, what is the worst RMC? Probably Goliath at Six Flags Great America. the ride's great for what it has. It's just very short. King Game and Roblox, best Six Flags park. I think I have a ranking video on that, but Six Flags Fiesta Texas, Iron Rattler and Wonder Woman are a great 1-2 punch. That park has great supporting rides, but really elevates it is the theming and atmosphere. It's the best themed, and just it doesn't feel like a Six Flags park, and I mean that in the best way possible. Thomas Van Horn, thoughts on Roar at Six Flags America? I enjoy that ride up front. It has some good airtime pops, but it is very rough the further back you go. Max Hagenauer, best coaster for positive G's. Fly Phantasialand in the back is really good, especially in the flying position. The G's feel a bit weird. Jack Fellman, yeah, seeing Blue Streak go was a sad ending for it. Toxic Plays, Six Flags Great Adventure or Great America. I prefer Great Adventure, stronger coaster lineup, and then you also have the Safari too. Hello, Sean Meyer. Charge on PC was the strongest ejector moment you felt. There's a few that come to mind. Ride to Happiness, that drop had really strong ejector airtime. Some of the RMCs have really strong bursts of airtime, like the outward turn on Wicked Cyclone. Sky Rush is pretty much any hill on that ride. Coaster Legacy, do you think you'll prefer Phoenix or Phoenix or over Let Coaster? So it depends how forceful Phonics is, because Abyssus was a lot more forgiving in the positive G department than Let Coaster. I'm going to say Lek for now until Phoenix proves me it has the positive Gs and transitions like Lek. King Game and Roblox. I like airtime best of the forces. Upside Down, most overrated and underrated, overhyped coaster you've ridden. So the most underrated for me is probably Osiris at Park Asterix. I didn't know that was going to be my favorite invert going in. Surf Coaster Leviathan's another one because I thought that was going to be a boring jet coaster when that ended up having, forces comparable to a hyper coaster. Overhyped coaster. Kawasemi, the Intamin Megalite was one that was disappointing because I heard Megalites were some of the best rides in the world. And that ride was fine, but I also know it wasn't running the best when I was there because it only cycled when me and my friend rode it, and it had no time to warm up. Austin Gregory, weirdest theme coaster you've been on. So Smiler's a pretty weird theme where it's themed. It's a demented take on smiling. I'll say that one, but there's probably some others I can't think of at the top of my head. Vitor Engstrom, what coaster are you most hyped for in 2022? So I made a video talking about that, but Iron Gwazi is up there for sure, but Airy Force One, just because it looks like the marriage of Zadra and Untamed, which are two of my favorite RMCs. Easily offensive. I prefer podcasts over music. Coaster Legacy was an uncommon bucket list coaster of yours. Trannon, just because it's one of a kind, and I'm really intrigued to know how that ride feels. Adrenaline Central, which has a better coaster collection, Magic Mountain or Great Adventure? Magic Mountain, especially once their version of Jersey Devil opens. Swaggy Soldier, favorite gravity group coaster, easily Voyage. Setting, speed, pacing, length, it has everything. Ryan Freeman, thoughts on the future of El Toro? It should reopen, and it's clear the park is going to keep that ride around with the amount of work that went into it the past 2 years to fix it. The Quackens Coaster Channel, how would you rank the American theme park operators? Hershey, Cedar Fair, Six Flags, SeaWorld. So it's tricky because it depends if you factor in the amount of parks they have. So I'm just going to say like the best of they all have their merits. I'd probably say SeaWorld. Disney's my favorite, but that wasn't listed. I'd probably say SeaWorld's up there, and I'd probably put Cedar Fair, Six Flags, and Hershey. Hershey's only down there because they don't have as many parks, and they're dominated by the top two. But I love what they have. Alpha Swirl, favorite B&M Hyper. Shambhala, great pacing and the airtime stronger. Coaster Platypus, do you prefer Immelmans or dive loops? Typically dive loops. I find that they have better forces. Charge on PC, most underrated park you've been to. Warner Brothers World, Abu Dhabi. I knew nothing of that park going in. It had Disney Universal level dark rides. Toro Toxic Plays, favorite Intamin coaster. I know I just made my ranking video. I can just pull up my spreadsheet because that'll probably make it easier if any other questions come up like this. Which one was at the top? Was it Velocicoaster? I think it would have been Velocicoaster. Alessandro Tenorio Bucchi, if you're comfortable answering, what's your job? I'm a mechanical engineer for a healthcare company. This roller coaster life. Do you think GCI's Titan track will ride similar to RMC's iBox track? So I've only experienced that track on White Lightning, and it felt smooth like a steel coaster. So it just depends how ambitious they get with the layouts. Do you ever get to Big C? Do you ever get to Whalen Park before it closed, or Funorama in Salisbury? I didn't get to either of those places. Whalen Park in particular, because my parents had bad experiences there and thought it was kind of sketchy, so they wouldn't take me there. Coaster Legacy. Have you ever built a backyard coaster or planned doing so? Always wanted to, but realistically, I don't think my neighbors would like that, and I probably can't build one as ambitious as I'd like. Minnesota Thrills. Rest in peace, Stan Checkets. Yeah, that was sad to see because he had such an impact in the amusement industry. Joy, do you know any details about what happened to Blue Streak? So it seems like the new owner didn't want amusement rides, and he started taking down Blue Streak, and then pieces of what he already took off, he tried to burn, and it conveniently spread to the rest of Blue Streak. Austin Gregory, what would you like to see next at Fantasyland for a coaster perspective? That park's got a really well-rounded lineup. I'd like to see them get a really strong family coaster, like something like it's Gerstlauer family coasters would be really nice for them. Credits born, sugar or plain. So I don't like sweets, so I'm going to say plain. Thomas Van Horn, do you think Knoebels will ever try to buy the blueprints to rebuild Blue Streak? I don't know if they would, because I feel like they have their Out and Back in Phoenix, and they have their Twister and Twister, but you never know. I feel like they'd be. Yeah, I'm gonna go with maybe not for now, but you never know. I feel like they'd want to get some classic flat rides. Hello, Higher Power Thrills. Kentucky and Coasters. Do you think you'll ever get to China or Australia? China most likely for work eventually. In Australia, my fiance and I want to go there eventually. Easily Offensive. 3 favorite podcasts. I don't really listen to any, the same podcast over and over. Basically, if there's a topic I want to listen to, I look something up and listen to it. Ryan Freeman, best terrain coaster, Beast or Boulder Dash? Of those two, easily Boulder Dash, but my favorite overall terrain coaster is Lightning Rod. Jack Alexander Gregory, when Project Exodus gets built in the UK, are you going to make a trip over there to ride it? So the next time I go to the UK, I want, Project Exodus to be open. I want Valhalla to be open, and I want Ultimate at Lightwater Valley to still be open if possible. Alpha Swirl, I am very excited for Tron. That ride looks amazing. Peter Enstrom, Heartline Roll or Zero G Roll? I like both. It just depends how well it's executed. Charge on PC, what makes Lightning Rod better than Wildfire? Lightning Rod just has superior pacing and sense of speed, and I think the individual elements are stronger, though Wildfire has an amazing start and a very good rest of the ride. Higher Power Thrills, do you think Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 has an awesome soundtrack? I don't really remember the soundtrack, to be honest. King Gaming Roblox, channel plans for 2022. Probably pretty similar to the previous year. Higher Power Thrills, why did he try to burn it? I don't think he wants amusement rides, and I don't know if it had something to do with insurance. Charge on PC, what do you think Dollywood will get in 2022? So I'm hoping it'll be a Mach Extreme Spinner, but people who have looked at the plan said it doesn't look to be a particularly tall coaster. I'm wondering if it'll be like Manta, SeaWorld San Diego spinning cars, because that'd be a pretty interesting ride that would appeal to a lot of people. Peter Engstrom, flying or invert? Typically, I prefer inverts, but the best of the best flyers are better. Toxic Plays, do you have any big coaster trips planned? I have no trips planned at the moment. I'm just waiting to see how Omicron plays out. Austin Gregory, Merlin Entertainment or Hershey? I think Hershey's best parks are better than Merlin, but Merlin definitely has more depth. Alessandro Tenorio Bucchi, best kiddie coaster, Tiger Terror. That ride had a dance club atmosphere. It had some airtime, had some laterals. I have a review on that one. Uncle Nate, Whataburger, Culver's, or In-N-Out? So I've never been to Whataburger. I did not like Culver's. In-N-Out's okay, but by default, I'll say that one. I'm not a big fan of fast food burgers, to be honest. If I'm looking for a burger, I typically go to Fuddruckers. Crowbar Jones, have you played any theme park games? I like Planet Coaster a lot, and I also like the Roller Coaster Tycoon and the mobile, just because it's easy to pick up and play that one. Thomas Van Horn, what park do you think will be bought by Gene Staples next? I'm not sure. I just hope he continues, especially with Clementon Park and Fantasy Island. I think those need to have a lot of investments to be built back up, so I want him to focus on building those. Higher Power Thrills, do you have dreams of seeing a new coaster? So I don't ever remember my dreams, so I might, but I have to say no. Chaos Lemon, do you have any pets? I don't, but my parents have 2 beagles that are adorable, but not very well trained. Vector 4, how do you upload 2, 3, or 4 videos a day? So I was used to blowing about 2 hours a day due to commuting, so I just can repurpose, a chunk of that to making videos and basically have a system so I can do it pretty quickly. North Star Coasters, hello. Toxic Play, Silver Dollar City or Dollywood? Easily Silver Dollar City. I prefer the atmosphere there. The signature ride is always open there, and I think they have a better supporting coaster lineup too. Twisted Whiskers, send me a Facebook DM. Okay, I'll take a look at it afterwards. Adrenaline Central, best inversion ever. I have to sit down and think about it, but there's several that come to mind, like Mosasaurus Roll is amazing. The Raven Turn X2. Pretty much any inversion on X2, to be honest. Ice Speed has an amazing barrel roll too. I'm planning on making a video on that one. Alpha Swirl, what is your favorite coaster with the best hang time? Helix at Lisaberg is really good for hang time, just because it has it pretty much in every single inversion. There are definitely rides that have better hang time on individual elements, though. Scourge Fanboy, do you ever think there'll be a coaster that'll top Lightning Rod as your number 1? Oh, it's entirely possible. It just needs to have, speed, pacing, intensity, and it has to have, either theming or a great setting to help differentiate from the others. Charged on PC, most boring non-family coaster. Probably Grizzly at California's Great America. It's very smooth. It just does nothing. Ryan Freeman, have you ever been in American Dream and Nickelodeon? Is it worth it? Best ride? Sandy's Blast and Bronco is the best ride. That backwards launch is one of the best launches on any coaster. It's an expensive park. Unfortunately, one of the signature rides is usually closed when you go there. But I do enjoy the place, especially having an indoor option up in the Northeast. Higher Power Thrills. Have you heard of Maximum G-Force coasters and other obscure games? Not really. Toxic Plays. What is your home park? Technically, it's now Edaville, but practically it is Six Flags New England, Canby Lake Park, or Lake Compounds. Kermis Portal is almost 3 a.m. there. Well, thanks for watching. That's really late. Coastal Legacy. What's a park you desperately need to go back to? Desperately. Can't think of one off the top of my head that I desperately need to go back to. There's just a lot that I'd, like to go back to. Alessandro Tenorio Buki, how old are you? I am 29. Quacken's Coaster Channel, favorite Universal Park, easily Islands of Adventure. The theming and thrills combination. Mostly coasters, hello. Charge on PC, best coaster for night rides, Lightning Rod. Favorite coaster anyway, but the fact that you also have, that amazing setting on the backside of that mountain, there's no light back there. And then during Smoky Mountain Christmas, you have those Christmas lights going down the quad down. Shooter McGavin, 1605. Looking forward to your videos. Next best thing than being at the park. I'm glad you like the videos, and thanks for the super chat. Thomas Van Horn, roughest coaster you've ridden. Coaster Express. Have a review on it, but that ride's wretched. Z Jeff DeCat, I'm going January 9th to Ride to Happiness. I'm surprised it's still open because isn't it pretty cold over there? But enjoy, that ride's amazing. Certified Nuki, which coasters have you not ridden that you could see being your number 1 once you ride them? DC Rivals looks like it has a chance considering anytime you get backwards, ejector airtime is special, and the fact that it's such a long ride that's up there. T Express is another one because I love El Toro's start. T Express has that. And I love Balder outside the fact it doesn't have a first drop, and T Express fixes that. Upside Down, I'm maybe going to Sorry, what's TRTH? Is that the Ride to Happiness? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, enjoy. That ride's amazing. Ryan Freeman, have you been to Six Flags Mexico? Yes, I have. I have a review on that park. Superman is amazing. Steel Coaster Medusa, I've never ridden that ride at its full potential. The first time it was running the slower wheels from the VR conversion, and the second time was only running a 5-car train, but I still liked it. Adrenaline Central, what does Six Flags New England need as an addition? A launch coaster. And then on the water park side, they could use a mat racing slide because it's weird they don't have one. Vector 4, last park you've been to. Six Flags Great Adventure for Holiday in the Park. One of the best times to be there. Toxic Plays, rankings of the 3 Woodies at Hershey Park. After this past season, I'd say Lightning Racer 1, Comet 2, Wildcat 3. I don't hate Wildcat as much as others, but it needs to be ridden up front or you're in for a bad time. Kermis Portal, Coaster Express is no more. I thought they were just retracting it, but unfortunately reopening it. Nick the Pet Rock, RMC Joker Hang Time. So Joker's stall has great hang time, if that's what you're referring to. Marius Kanaka, have you ever considered getting a job in the theme park industry? I've thought about it, but just specifically, I'd want to be on the manufacturer side, but just where those jobs aren't near my family. So that's ultimately why I don't think I'd do it. I almost got an internship in college, though. Charge on PC, thoughts on a dive coaster at Hershey Park? That would be, dive coasters work well at pretty much any park. It is sort of close to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, so I'd almost prefer to see them do like a wing coaster instead, but we'll see what happens. Quacken's Coaster Channel, do you prefer Holiday in the Park or Winterfest for Christmas events? Typically Holiday in the Park because Six Flags is much more ambitious when it comes to running their rides in cold temperatures. I mean, Great Adventure runs their rides in the teens, and I don't think they have a cutoff. I don't like how Winterfest really limits the amount of rides they have. Thomas Van Horn, do you think Triple Loop at Indiana Beach will run as fast as it did in Mexico? And was Chimera smooth? Chimera was mostly smooth. There were just some unbanked turns that would throw you about because they were not designed to be taken at that speed. But back when it was at Flamingo Land as Magnum Force, it ran pretty fast there apparently, so it should run pretty close. Vector 4, thoughts on Legend and Holiday World? Great laterals, love the setting, good all-around ride. Skylines 17, glad you like the videos. Upside Down, would Coaster Expresses and RMC work, or Magnus Colossus at Terra Minica? Both those rides have a huge structure, so they absolutely would if the park would pay to do it. Flamma 943, thoughts on Jackrabbit at Kennywood? I have a review on that one, but the double down is amazing. Getting that level of airtime with a seatbelt and just a loop, basically a non-existent lap bar is incredible. Stanford Bridge, considering your high coaster count at such a young age, do you see yourself ever competing for the top spot on coaster count? I would say no, just because of how I'm not as much into planning trips to go after wacky worms in small countries. I'll ride every crate available to me that's in my path, but I don't go way out of the way for tiny little coasters. Alessandro Tenorio Abuki, favorite B&M stand-up. Riddler's Revenge, very forceful, and I find it smooth. Night Lizard 22, what do you think would be a good addition to Canby Lake Park? So realistically, what I think that park needs most, an expansion of the water park because that's really popular. And then after that, I'd love to see them put in an inverting flat ride of some sort. And then they could use a family coaster because in between Dragon Coaster and the next coasters, you have to wait till you're 48 inches. They could use something with a lower height limit, like a 42 inch, some sort of like mock spinner or, like a small little Gerstlauer launch coaster. That would work well for the park. Keith the King 25, predictions what King's Dominion will replace Volcano with. Cedar Fair likes working with B&M, so I think there was that leaked plan for the wing coaster a while back. I could still see that happening. Toxic Plays, coaster you think that needs the RMC treatment? Coaster Express, that layout has a lot of potential. That park needs a signature coaster. Although that new Intamin they're building could be it. I just don't know anything more how big that ride's going to be. Higher Power Thrills, can you see B&M Giga at Hershey Park? No, because they can't build that tall anymore, I believe. Coaster Legacy. Do you have a general interest in riding coasters in a third world country? It just depends how good the ride is, and if there's some other appeal in the country, because there are a lot of beautiful countries out there. Twisted Whiskers, what do you think Hurricane Harbor will add in the future? If you mean the one at Six Flags New England, they need a mat racing slide. Crowbar Jones, thoughts on the Morgan Hypers? Wild Thing and Mamba are bad in the second half because of the mid-course trim, but Morgan can build a good ride when they can go full tilt start to finish. Charge on PC, top 3 manufacturers. Intimate and RMC are the top 2 favorites. The next one's either B&M or Gravity Group. Hello, Civilian Satellite. Thank you. Kermis Portal, was your current favorite B&M invert? Osiris, a Park Asterisk. I love how it has airtime mixed in. Charge on PC, would you ever go to Six Flags Qiddiya? Yeah, I mean, Falcon's Flight looks amazing, and so does the Iron Rattler tilt coaster. Marius Kanaka, favorite coaster in Germany. Fly Phantasialand. Love the theming and positive G's and airtime. Quacken's coaster channel, is Lil Phantom as good as advertised? I'm not going to say that because I'll probably get canceled. Thomas Van Horn, do you think there are any parks in danger of permanently closing soon? Someone mentioned Lakeside earlier, wondering if that park was going to have some trouble. I'm not too familiar with the situation, but based on how long it took from the reopen last year and being closed the previous year due to a pandemic, maybe them, but there could be others. This roller coaster life. I heard some enthusiasts count relocated coasters and new credits. Do you agree? I do, but just however many credits you count is entirely your own personal opinion. I care more about quality experiences over numerical credits. Uncle Nate, deciding on Sweden or Poland next spring, which would you choose for a 4-day trip? I think Sweden's better for coasters because I prefer Liseberg and Gronelund to Legendia and Energylandia, but I think Energylandia. So I'd say Poland has the better top tier coasters, but I think the parks are more enjoyable in Sweden. El Toro landed. Do you know Theme Park Avenue? Yeah, I saw the YouTube poop video made for me on I think Christmas. Marius Kanaka, thoughts on Disney Genie? If you park hop it is very useful because you can start if you park hop to a new park in the late day, at least in Orlando, you can basically reserve every ride instantly and walk right onto them. I haven't used it on a super busy day though, but it worked well when I was there with moderate crowds in October. Certified Nuki, most overrated manufacturer. I really can't think of a super overrated manufacturer at the top of my head. Yeah, sorry, I can't think of one off the top of my head for that one. Twisted Whiskers, thoughts on Oscar's Wacky Taxi? Very good pacing and fun for its size, but that ride unfortunately just always seems to be closed when I go there. It opens late. I wish Sesame Place had that ride going, at opening day. So I know I'm falling behind. I'll try my best to get caught back up. Charge on PC. Do you count water coasters as credits? Depends if they have like a coaster type element to them. I know it's really vague, but I basically play it by ear. Upside Down, what do you count as a credit? Do you count Zamperla discos and dueling coasters as 1 or 2? So it depends if they have 2 separate tracks for dueling. For the disco coasters, the thing I find interesting with that is a disco coaster is basically a powered coaster because it has a slight section when it is relying a little bit on gravity plus a powered section, whereas people will count powered coasters. And basically, a disco coaster is a powered coaster that's a shuttle. Hello, Nick D'Ambrosio. Coaster Legacy, which Europe park do you see building the first axis? That's a good question. Maybe Energylandia, considering they're building something new every single year. Toxic Plays, do you think that Intimate's new hot racer model will be as good as the RMC single rail model? I don't think Big Dipper looks as good as the RMC Raptors that have been built, but Big Dipper wasn't asked to do that. Intimates clearly can build something wild if they want to. Twisted Whiskers, Hurricane Harbor, New Jersey. I would love to see them add a water coaster if possible. Big C, what kind of coaster would you like to see lake compounds get to complement Boulder Dash? So like you said, like something like Monster Adventureland would be great. Realistically, I have a feeling they're going to add some sort of family steel coaster next, possibly a spinner based off what they've looked at in the past. Vector 4, best launch, Dododampa. Michael Doherty, which coaster would you build in your backyard? I probably need something relatively compact, like an RMC Raptor would be great for that, but realistically, I think I'm just going to focus on traveling to parks. Higher Power Thrills, how'd the Little Phantom meme happen? I don't know. Minnesota Thrills, Wild Thing is better than Mamba. Mamba's the worst Morgan Hyper. I prefer Mamba, but I think Wild Thing is a better overall moment with that first Camelback. Nick D'Ambroso, I also think Skyrush is better than El Toro. Toxic Plays, best Hurricane Harbor in the Six Flags chain. The one with Great America is pretty good because you have the water coaster, some good speed slides, and just a deep lineup. Noah Kessler, is there any coaster you think could be your number one? I mentioned DC Rivals because of the backwards seat. That's one that immediately comes to mind. T Express is another because it combines El Toro start with the rest of Balder. Sheer McGavin, 1605. Any plans to come to Tampa for Iron Gwazi when it opens? I definitely plan to get there this year. I just don't know when. Pixley the Gamer, coaster you wish never closed. Volcanoes one, just because I always love that ride. Dueling Dragons is another. Ryan Freeman, if Clementon reopens in New Jersey, will you hit it? I've been there. Hellcat was very rough if you didn't ride in the front, and it was kind of a weird visit just because it was so dead. Higher Power Thrills, have people asked you if you were the person on your YouTube channel at a park? Yeah, people have seen me at a park. Kessler, number one bucket list water slide and water park. Probably the other Atlantis parks, just because I've heard good things about Siam Park too. Number one bucket list water slide. It's probably some sort of water coaster. I'm not sure which one off the top of my head. Hello, roller coaster expert. Charged on PC. How would you rank the Walt Disney World parks? Magic Kingdom easily won. I love the castle parks. The other three just depends upon the day and how I'm feeling. But I'd probably say Hollywood Studios is my second favorite, just because of how they have the elite rides there. See you upside down. Flamin 943. What's the best Schwarzkopf you've ridden? Chimera at La Feria. Joey the Gamer, do you like Superman 6 Flags New England? Yeah, it's an amazing steel coaster, one of the best layouts ever made. David White, would you recommend a second day at Great Adventure or Great Escape? Great Adventure, if you've never been there, is probably a 2-day park just with the amount they have there, and assuming you want to get re-rides. You can do everything there in a day if you don't focus too much on re-rides. Flama 943, do you plan for more Q&As in the future? I plan to do it anytime I hit a milestone. Ray DLX, do you think Dragster will reopen in 2022? Yes, I do. Just probably with some sort of modified queue line. Twisted Whiskers, thoughts of the RMC T-Rex? It sounds like it'll happen. I just don't know who will be the first park to do it. Cobra, Toothless or Krakatoa? I prefer Krakatoa. The airtime's better on every single drop. Charge on PC, thoughts on the rumored Busch Gardens Williamsburg Dark Castle coaster? It's an interesting use of space. I'd probably prefer a dark ride, but since SeaWorld's not going to add it, I think this is about the best thing we're going to get. Steve H, best operating arrow, easily X2. That ride's insane. Alessandro Tenorio Ibuki, coaster with the best view. Shambhala has a great view. You have a great view on Outlaw Run at the top of the hill. Same with Wildfire at Silver Dollar City. David White, roughest coaster in the U.S. Wildcat Lake Compounds is up there, which is sad because they've retracked that. Roller coaster expert, favorite manufacturer, either Intamin or RMC. Pixel the Gamer, plans to go to Australia. One day, no immediate plans. Hello, Sustained Floater Coasters. Toxic Place, favorite coaster YouTubers. I love watching countdowns and reviews, basically the type of content I make. Noah Kessler, you've been to Hurricane Harbor, Arlington? I have not. Carl Sorensen, what is your favorite park in Sweden? Liseberg, great atmosphere, and I love their top two. Big C, thoughts on Camby coaster merch? I don't plan to make merch, just because I don't think my logo looked that good in a shirt or a hat. Yeah, and I'd say focus on saving merch to buy stuff at the parks and support them because that'll go into new rides for them. Conda Cage, kind of roller coaster lady you think could have a fighting chance of beating Lightning Rod at its current state. I think you either have to have a good setting or some type of I've talked about maybe something like DC Rivals where you have backwards ejector airtime could do it for me. K Moore, given the recent events at Kanye, are you going to prioritize getting the Lakeside Cyclone? I want to get to Colorado. I've just been waiting because I've been waiting for everything to be open in one visit, which has been a while. Marius Kanaka, favorite Mauer spinning coaster. Dragon's Fury is pretty good, but when just how weird it is. Ray DLX, Cedar Point, Universal Florida. I probably prefer Islands of Adventure slightly, but I might prefer Cedar Point depending on the day. Just problem with Cedar Point is the crowds there can make it really hard to do everything. Stanford Bridge, most frightened or anxious you've been on a coaster at any age. Probably one of the rides that freaked me out the most as a kid. It's not a coaster, but Tower of Terror, because that pre-show did me in. Roland Batiglia, has there been a coaster too intense for you? Chimera was so intense I could only ride it once, but I was also dealing with altitude sickness, so that might have been an issue as well. Chris Powell Chelt, what do you think of the Mach powered coasters? I really like the ride system when you put it with good theming. And I'm surprised Disney hasn't done it. Yeah, it seems like their type of ride system. David White, I don't plan to vlog just because I like to focus on being at the park instead of immediately hopping in front of a camera. Malik Nelson, what's your favorite first drop on a coaster? Iron Rattler, powerful airtime, some laterals, and great visuals too. Toxic Plays, thoughts on Wiener Prater. Amazing atmosphere, lots of great flats. The coasters have quantity, not quality, but it's an enjoyable park. Flamin 943, ridden a Togo. Yeah, I've ridden a few of their stand-ups in America, Big Apple coaster, and then rode a lot of good ones in Japan. Sustained Florida coasters, least favorite park on your European road trip. Probably Schwaben Park, but that was just because it was small. There was nothing the park did wrong per se. Steel Marshall, favorite all-time inversion. I talked about this earlier. It might be the Mosasaurus roll, but I plan to sit down, and take a look at this and make a ranking video. Flamin 943, is Wildcat Lake compounds that bad? Yes, it only got rougher when they retracted. Flyer, what is the thing you're most looking forward to this season? For probably SeaWorld Park's finally opening their rides just because, I've seen them in person. They all look good. Nick D'Ambrosio. Noah Kessler, how's Lightning Rod run compared to how it did last year? So I found the front felt the same. The back needed a little more time to warm up to have this similar ride in the past. I know it also lost some trees, but you're going so fast and you're so isolated, you really don't notice on ride, in my opinion. Cade was here, most underrated coaster of all time. Possibly Surf Coaster Leviathan. That ride is hyper like forces. Marius Kanaka, how do you finance all your theme park visits? I do a lot of traveling for work, and then the travels that aren't work related, they're supported by being a mechanical engineer. Logan Powell, did you go on Trannon? I did not. That's one of my bucket list rides because it's so unique. Keith the King 25, favorite coaster drop in the front row. Millennium Force is really good in the front just because if you lean forwards, the drop just goes on forever and you really build up speed. David White, favorite park ace Reunitas Park in Europe. I'm trying to think of which of the ones because that chain has a lot of weird parks. I don't want to miss one. Do I have my list for that one? Sorry, I'm just checking my list real quick so I don't miss one. I think it's Mirabilandia. Dive and W. Have you been to Shanghai Disneyland? No, but I want to. Crowbar Jones, you watch El Toro Ryan? Yeah, I love his problematic coaster series. Chris Bailey, will they ever feature the UK scene? I've done like a Nemesis review. I just want to get back there just to get some more experiences at the parks there, but I do enjoy it. Stamford Bridge, when you travel to parks in other countries, do you typically take time to see local sites? I'd say when I travel, I give up sleep before, sites and stuff. If I go somewhere where there's a really famous site, try to do, like the Eiffel Tower or go around the downtown area. Roland Batiglia, worst amusement park in the U.S. Probably Ocean Beach Park or NASCAR Speed Park, just because both those parks lied about their ride offerings and tried to charge full price. So the service was so bad, I just was in a sour mood there. And, stuff just wasn't available. Sustained flow coaster, most overrated coaster in your opinion? Beast is one of them, but I think that's a pretty common opinion. I think that ride's overrated now. I'm really bad at naming overrated rides off the top of my head. Sorry. Flyer, do you ever want to see any in real life coasters as a Lego set? I'm not a big Lego fan. I prefer the coaster dynamic sets. Alessandro Tenorio Buki, favorite airtime moment. It's either the quad down or Phoenix's finale with those 4 airtime hills with just the buzz bar. Twisted Whiskers, how much do you think Castaway Cove paid for a Gale Force retrack? I am not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure if they had to do that themselves or not. Hello, Lil Jim. Hello, Danny Jackson. Thunderbolt, rest in peace, Mean Streak. No, Steel Vengeance is a much better option. Malik Nelson, do you think Airy Force 1 will be better than Iron Gwazi Pantheon? I think so, but all 3 of those rides look amazing. Sustained Flow Coasters, random question about your favorite TV series. Prison Break was one I really liked back when that was on. Didn't really like the last season too much, but I liked the ones before that. Let's see. Stranger Things is another one I like. And I like a lot of the stuff that, and then Flash is another one I enjoy too. Flamin' 943, opinion on Worlds of Fun. It's a fine park. There's no really standout ride to me. It just has a lot of decent rides there. Sean Meyer, Diamondback at Kings Island, most overrated. I do enjoy that Diamondback. Very good floater airtime. Alessandro Tenorio Buki, scariest ride you've ever done, coaster or not. The stuff on the Stratosphere is pretty scary just because of how high you're up with the visual, but for me, it's probably nothing but net. That SCAD tower in Texas, because you drop with no bungee, no cable, and it relies on the rider to maintain their balance as you're falling, which is not an easy thing to do. Or else you can get hurt, which happened to me. And I have a whole video talking about that. Coaster Legacy, thoughts on Epic Universe? Universal's new lands have been amazing from a theming perspective, so I'm excited to see an entire park of that. Roller Coaster Expert, what type of coaster do you think Cedar Point will add next? I'd love to see them add an SS 4th Dimension coaster, but I really don't know what they're going to do next. The Inversion Record is another record they've never had that they might have had a long time ago, but I'm surprised they haven't gone for it again. Civilian Satellite, which coaster moved up or down the most in your rankings this year? Apollo's Chariot moved down quite a bit just because it used to be one of my favorite B&M hypers. Now it's towards the lower half of that list, so I'd probably say that one. Blaine Williams, thoughts on Six Flags Great America? Very deep, well-rounded lineup. Looks great. Quacken's Coaster Channel, will your fiance rank her favorite coasters at some point? She probably won't, just because she more prefers the theming and atmosphere of a park more than necessarily individual rides. She's not really as much into ranking them like I am. Flyer, what do you think will be the better coaster, Velocicoaster or Pantheon? I think Velocicoaster is going to be the better overall ride, but I think Pantheon will be more intense. Logan Powell, which coaster YouTube channels influence you? I like a lot of the ones that do like the countdowns and ranking videos, and that's what I've always liked looking at because it's cool to hear everyone's opinion. Chris Palchel, do you prefer huge parks or small ones? I'd say I prefer more like the offerings the park has more than necessarily. I don't care how cramped it is. It's a little annoying with a narrow pathway, but I care more about what the park actually offers than just sheer size. Sean Meyer, have you ridden the Texas Sky Screamer over Texas? I have. Great views in that one. Roland Batiglia, Coaster Studios versus Airtime Thrills versus Theme Park Predictions. What's your favorite? I like the reviews Coaster Studios does. Airtime Thrills makes great ranking videos and lists. Theme Park Predictions, I'm not too big into the prediction videos there, but they do make some good ranking videos. Nick D'Ambrosio, El Toro hurts, the lap bar stinks. Yeah, it definitely that ride's very hard for people to fit on. Coaster Legacy, if you enjoy Stranger Things, you like Dark. I'll have to take a look at it as long as there's English subtitles. Keith the King 25. No one talks about Diamondback's first Camelback. It's good, but it just doesn't match those other two hypers you mentioned. Matt Gates is a pedophile. Rank your kitty coasters. You didn't ride them for nothing. Tiger Terror is number one. There's a few out there I like. It has to have some type of weird experience or a force I'm not expecting. There's another one in Germany. It was like Kudel Dilhari. It was like some excessively themed wacky worm that was playing the SpongeBob theme song with a bunch of theming. That ride was pretty cool because it was weird. Flama 943, thoughts about Montezuma's Revenge. Cool launch, forceful loop forwards and backwards, and some weightless on the spike. It's a solid ride. It doesn't usually have much of a line. Twisted Whiskers, when do you get engaged? Not this Christmas, the year before. Upside Down, Tutatis or Velocicoaster. I think Tutatis looks like the stronger ride, but just doesn't have the theming of Velocicoaster. Certified Nuki, if you could bring back one defunct manufacturer, which would you bring back? Probably Arrow, especially with how they're innovating at the end. Matt Gates, the pedophile. I don't know what ASMR is. Jakey Thrilla, best ride, Busch Gardens, Tampa. Currently Montu, but it'll probably be Iron Gwazi when it opens. Logan Powell, thoughts on Darien Lake? It's an okay park. I like how they still have Fascination. Ride of Steel is a good top ride. It just isn't as strong from a ride perspective as some of the other Six Flags parks, but there's nothing inherently wrong with it. Jakey Thrilla, Cheetah Hunt, in my opinion. Cheetah Hunt's fun. I just prefer the Forces of Montu. Nick D'Ambrosio, will you ride the tallest free fall in Orlando? Yeah, I definitely hope to ride that next time I'm in Orlando. The Quackens Coaster Channel, does Will the Hilda have the greatest soundtrack of all time? One of them. I prefer Helix personally. I am BNZ, opinions on all the repaints. It's interesting seeing so many rides changing their color, but it's glad to see rides get the love and get painted. Idiot Cow, if you had to pick one park to live next door to, which would it be? I'd love living near Disneyland just because that's my favorite park. Jerry Villeman, what do you think of Jersey Devil now that the trims are off? The finale definitely has better airtime than it used to, but that ride's still all about the first half, in my opinion. Flyer, yep, I've seen the rumor about Busch Gardens Williamsburg adding the Dark Castle coaster. I prefer to see a dark ride, but if a coaster is the most they're willing to do in that building, it's better than nothing in there and using a haunt. Twisted Whiskers, was Jim Reed Anderson better as Six Flags CEO? I haven't really followed, who's a CEO at any given time, so I can't really comment intelligently on that one. Sorry. Trim Breaks 06. What park is the most underrated coaster lineup in your opinion? I think everyone agrees this park has a good lineup, but it's not talked about in the top tier as enough as it should. I'd say Hershey Park, because when you're thinking about the best coaster lineups in America, Cedar Point comes to mind, Six Flags Magic Mountain comes to mind. Hershey Park's right up there with those two, in my opinion. K Moyer, do you think you're second at theme park review when it comes to coaster credits by coaster YouTubers? I'm not sure. I mean, there are probably others out there with a ton of credits too. Flama943, I never rode Windjammer, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Certified Nuki, any coasters that is killed by one single element? I'd probably think like a trim brake that could significantly neuter a ride. Yeah, not sure. Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Sorry. Crowbar Jones, favorite impulse coaster. Whichever one is running with a holding brake. I rode in Possessed and loved it, but that was obviously not running last year. Hello, Emily. May have missed it. What's your thoughts on Blue Streak burning down? Very rough. As you saw, that park is not in the best of condition. It's sad to see the coaster go, but yeah, it just wasn't the best of shape. Coaster Legacy, which park should get the bought up Cascabel 2.0, Fantasy Island or Clementon? It would work at either park, to be honest. Coaster Spire was one park you can confidently call bad and unenjoyable. I mentioned earlier NASCAR Speed Park and Ocean Beach Park or two just because they lied about their offerings on a given day. And their offerings aren't that good to begin with, to be honest. Kaiso, thoughts on Iron Gwazi? Ride looks amazing, and I can't wait for it to finally open. Jerry Villeman, where do you hope to see the next mock Extreme Spinner? I'd like to see Dollywood get one, but especially because Hershey seems to add rides in pairs between those two parks, so we'll see what happens. Quacken's Coaster Channel, do you enjoy SNS free spins? If they spin a lot, yes. Logan Powell, best mock rides. Ride to Happiness is one of my favorites. It is my favorite from them currently. I'm hoping to get on DC Rivals eventually. Alessandro Tenorio Buki, what defunct credit do you wish you got most? Probably Eagle Fortress, just because that ride looked like it had crazy pacing compared to the other suspended coasters. Nick D'Ambrosio, yeah, I'd like to see Six Flags work with Mock and get the Extreme Spinners. It's about in the budget of the B&M they're adding to Fiesta Texas, so it's possible. Matt Gates, Goliath, Magic Mountain, worst trim ever. That one's pretty bad. Same with Titan at Over Texas. Flamin 943, heard of Moonsault Scramble? Yep, that ride looked really intense. Ryan Freeman, have you ever heard of Desperado? I really wish I could have gone on Desperado. It was closed when I was in Vegas. I know it might not be the smoothest ride, but it's such a big coaster. I remember seeing in all the coaster specials growing up. I hope to ride it someday. Sustained Flare Coasters, favorite and least favorite park you visited in Italy. So the least favorite park I visited in Italy was Zoo Marine. It was okay for what it was. It had the Schwarzkopf Looper. It basically felt like a discounter budget SeaWorld. The favorite park I went to there, I really liked Gardaland's atmosphere. They just didn't have like that top tier knockout ride. So I'd say my favorite currently is Mirabilandia. Parking Maniacos, heightened speed or maneuvers and inversions. Luke Farley, would you rather ride Steel Vengeance with Skyrush restraints or over-the-shoulder restraints? Skyrush restraints, just because I don't want a headbang, especially some laterals in that ride. Stanford Bridge, favorite park T-shirt. I wrote one for Phoenix Knobles I really like. I have a lot from Disney that I like. I have a Slinky Dog Dash one I like just because of how, that's a very fun-looking ride. Coaster Spider, what operating CCI do you think has the most RMC potential? So Boulder Dash probably make the best RMC, but I hope that doesn't happen because I'd rather see them use their money to complement Boulder Dash rather than get rid of it. Boss is one that comes to mind just because that's such a big layout in the woods. Amusement coasters, how do you get so many credits? Did a lot of traveling after graduating college. So basically I worked hard through school, got a good job that can support travels. Jakey Thriller, could you see RMC Blue Streak? I don't think that would have worked at that park. And that was such an old structure. They probably had to beef it up so much. Coaster Legacy, where do you think the next Facoma flyer could go to? I'm not sure, just because that's a model that bursts in the scene with Fly, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. Crowbar Jones, have you ever met up with other coaster YouTubers? Yeah, I've seen others when I go, especially Hollywood Nights. Met quite a few there. I've run into a few at Great Adventure as well, considering how often I go there. Matt Gates will not get a Giga by 2024. I mean, the plans that were submitted look like they say 2023, so maybe next year. Keith the King 25. Is it right Kings Dominion removed Anaconda replaced with a B&M Flyer? I would rather see them get a new ride in Volcanoes plot rather than remove something else right away. Coaster Spider, hang time or bone crushing G-forces? Hang time. I like coming out of my seat any way possible. Civilian Satellite, best airport you've been to and the worst. Cleveland's up there for the worst just because it aesthetically wasn't very pleasing, had a lot of construction was there, and the rental car shuttle was off-site. That's one of my big pet peeves when the shuttle's off-site. Favorite airport? So one thing that I've always wondered is, like, especially in Orlando, they have an arcade, but they put it before security. I'm going to say Edmonton because they had an arcade, but they put after security, so you could happily, you could focus on playing games after you've gotten past security without having to worry about, the imminent TSA line. Moore, if you had time, would you do videos on defunct coaster to give your viewers history lessons? So I do that on the rides I've been on. I like to just try to give my unique perspective on rides because, you can look up the history of a ride on, Wikipedia or wherever else you want to go. Jerry Villeman, do you know anything about the 2 new rides coming to Luna Park and Coney Island? They should be ordered by Thunderbolt. Saw them sitting there. They should be good family rides. And I'm glad they're actually getting, a full-on good flume. Flamin' 943, thoughts about Revolution at Magic Mountain? Very good loop. The rest of the ride's scenic, but doesn't do too much, but it's a good introductory looping coaster. Trim Break 6, I did not see the original Ride to Happiness test footage. Crimson Stunbird, do you have a preference between Timberliners and Millennium Flyers? I really like both those trains. I would say Millennium Flyers with the original, really soft padding were my favorites, but I probably would take Timberliners over the newer Millennium Flyers that have the harder foam seats. But again, all those trains are fine. Good usernames are overrated. Hello, Matt Gates. Are you an engineer? Yep, I'm a mechanical engineer for a healthcare company. Blaine Williams, worst defunct credit. Probably some random kiddie coaster I went on. Joseph Levesque, favorite land of Fantasyland. I loved Rookburg, even though it just had one ride, but that ride was amazing. And the vantage points with the hotel were really cool. Coaster Spire, best defunct credit, and does it rank in your top 250? Yeah, it would be Dueling Dragons. It made my top 100. Parques Maniacos, congrats for 10K. Have you ever experienced a rollback or being valued on a coaster? So I have rolled back an Expedition G-Force. The cable lift had a little issue, so once we started going up the lift, we ended up rolling back into the station. When Copperhead Strike opened, we got stopped on the second launch. So I don't really know if it counts as a valley or rollback. It was more or less a block stoppage, but so I've had some experiences of that. Swaggy Soldier, what do you think Kings Island's next coaster will be? I'm not sure. They could go in a lot of different directions, but something like Copperhead Strike would be cool there. Trim Break 6, most room you've gotten on non-Buzzbar or FAM's Revenge Restraint. Morgan Hypers are pretty good for the amount of room you get. I think one of the reasons I really like rides with buzz bars and single position lap bars is just because I'm not used to getting a ton of room. I don't want any operators to get in trouble or anything. Good usernames are overrated. Yeah, Jersey Devil in the back. Jersey Devil in the back, especially at night, is amazing. Matt Gates, a mechanical engineer in healthcare. What's it like to be rich? I just work hard through school. That's the number one tip I can give. And just work hard. Stanford Bridge, best on-site park hotel you've ever stayed at. It's hard to beat Hotel Charles Lindbergh just because of how the way it's integrated with Rookburg was unprecedented, and the hotels, well, the rooms are small. There's everything else of the hotel is immaculately well themed. Trim Break 6. Have you ever been to a media day event? I have not. Keith the King, you know how Banshee replaced a good chunk of Sign Beast Land? Would it be cool if Kings Island expanded paths and put a coaster in the back half of Sign Beast Land? So I'd love to see them add some sort of like RMC hybrid that sort of plays homage to Son of Beast in some way. Look imposing with that wood structure. Flamin' 943, experience on Smiler. I talked about it earlier, very smooth up front, fun inversions, 2 good airtime hills. It just got a little shaky towards the back of the train. Matt Gates, how's the Knott's Hotel? I've never stayed there. I just went in there to get pictures of Ghost Rider. I usually stay closer to Disneyland just because I like to walk to that park just because that's where I find it helps out the most on the trip. Especially because I have free parking at Knott's, so I don't really focus on staying close to it. Jakey Thrilla, do you see Magnum getting a Morgan retract? I don't see that ride ever getting removed by Cedar Point, so I could see it getting retracked eventually when it came down to it. Goodbye, Flama 943. Michael Doherty, would you rather a coaster in the Grand Canyon or the coaster in the middle of New York City? I'd say coaster in the middle of New York City because it'd be closer to me, but both would be amazing settings. Crowbar Jones, have you ever been a coaster mania at Cedar Point? I have not. I've heard good things about it. Wow, I actually got caught up with all the questions. That's unprecedented for me. Swaggy Soldier, do you ever see the Morgan hypercoasters like Wild Thing getting an upgrade of some sort? I could see them So, the upgrade I'd love to see is the mid-course trim get loosened, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe they get the trains like Steel Dragon 2000 that are a little more freeing, but I feel like because those rides are still popular with most guests in the park, I feel like they'd rather just focus on new rides. Good usernames overrated. Have you ever been on a coaster that was so intense it felt unsafe? Yes, Coaster, Peony Playland. You get ejector airtime with basically no restraint, and it's terrifying. But I love it, though. Twisted Whiskers, where are trims in Jersey Devil? So the mid-course trim used to trim when the ride opened. It no longer does. So the return run has a little more power to it. Civilian Satellite, coaster outside the U.S. you've ridden that gives the best night ride. So the one caveat I have to give with that is when I've been to Europe, there are a lot of rides I can look at and say, that would probably give a great night ride, like Wildfire at Colmartin. What are some other ones over there? Like Taron looks like it would give a great night ride, same with Fly. But the European parks close really early, so it's hard to get night rides over there. Probably my favorite night ride I've gotten over there would be Helix, just because it had a cool setting up on the hill. The ride has lights, and you have that amazing view of Gothenburg mixed in with like a wooded hill. Matt Gates, you're so heading to Vancouver based on your recommendation. Yeah, that coaster so Peony Playland doesn't have too much beyond coaster that's particularly noteworthy, but coaster is worth the trip alone. Jakey Thrilla, did you see the Beast retract? I did. I'm excited to see what a steeper drop and possibly less trims would do to the ride. Crowbar Jones, what would you say is the worst Six Flags and Cedar Fair park? So I have not been to Gilroy Gardens, but that might be the worst Cedar Fair park, almost by default, just because it's a lot smaller. Worst Cedar Fair park is probably Worlds of Fun, just because it has a bunch of decent stuff, but no real standouts to me. For the worst Six Flags park, probably Frontier City. I like the theming of that park, but it just doesn't have the ride lineup of the rest of the chain. Good usernames are overrated. Most anticipated coaster for 2022. I have a video on that, but Airy Force One. The fact it combines like Zadra and Untamed elements together should make it amazing. McLovin, first major park you visited outside your home state. So all my first amusement parks were actually outside of Massachusetts. So, the first parks I went to were Canobie, Storyland, and Santa's Village. Matt Gates, is Ghost Rider just another wood coaster in your opinion? That ride is a very good wood coaster, borderline top 10. Amazing pacing, good mix of laterals and airtime. Keith the King 25. Yeah, I mentioned that the Beast retracting looks really cool. If they can get airtime on the drop and have it run faster, that would only make it better because it has the setting. I just wish it had better elements along the way. Twisted Whiskers. What if RMC put their metal track in El Toro? Six Flags has done a pretty good job maintaining that ride over the years, outside of the issues of the past 2 years. I'd rather see them invest in a new ride. Good usernames are overrated. The Peony Corkscrew was standing but not operating when I'm there. I don't think it's ever opening again. I just don't know if they've removed it yet. Logan Powell, have you been on Monster at La Ronde? I've been on both sides. The ride doesn't do too much. One side had a really good speed hill that caught me off guard, but the ride, other than that, is pretty much slow meandering. Stanford Bridge, do you remember Spook Slot, the weird haunted castle ride show at Efteling? What do you think about it? So that ride wasn't show wasn't what I was expecting when I did it. It was fine. I didn't, I did it in 2019. When I went back this past year, I didn't think I had to do it again. So I guess it was one of those things I would do to pass the time, but it isn't a must for me. Swaggy Soldier, would you rather have a Vortex ESC coaster in its spot or flat rides? When you say ESC, are you talking about the zero elevated seating coaster, or what do you mean by that one? Sorry. Blaine Williams, have you ever ridden an Aero Mega Looper? Yeah, I've ridden like Viper at Magic Mountain, Viper at Darien Lake. They can have some shaky transitions, but I love the positive G's. McLovin, favorite specific upcharge attraction? Mountain Monster and Pigeon Forge is amazing. It basically gives you a sky coaster-like experience and a drop tower all in one. So I'm probably going to hop off in 5 minutes, so I'll try and answer as many questions as I can in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, thanks again, everyone, for joining in and, being engaging the whole time. Quacken's Coaster Channel, is there a park you've been to where the staff was rude? So the ones I can think of, like I alluded to it, NASCAR Speed Park and Ocean Beach Park, just because they were willing to lie about what was open on the days I was there. Not every staff member there was bad, but the ones who were interfacing to sell tickets I'd say, were not good. Like, they were on their phones and just, they didn't want to be there. Jakey Thrill, new idea, dueling RMC on one side, wood on the other, so wood in a hybrid. That'd be cool, but I feel like, that would be marketable, have a wood and a steel side. Just like how you have Battlestar Galactica, where you have the invert and the sit-down side. Matt Gates, Cedar Point or Magic Mountain? So I think Cedar Point's a better park, but I will say this. It is easier to have a good day at Magic Mountain if you go on a quiet period, because there are days you can go to Magic Mountain when the park is deserted. It is hard to have a day at Cedar Point where the park is empty. Good usernames overrated. Sad to see Blue Streak burned down. Yeah, the ride was historic. It had 3 great drops of good airtime, but it was in rough shape. Coaster Hour, thank you. Big C, do you think this will be the last year of Flashback at Six Flags New England? I'm not sure, because, that ride's fairly reliable, can run in cold temperatures, which is important up in New England. Goliath is the one I think is toast. Quacken's Coaster Channel, bedtime? No, it's only 9:30. You just, want to have a snack and stuff, which is why I want to hop off. JB, do you go to fairs? Do you have a favorite? So the fairs I've been to, Oktoberfest is pretty amazing. Any European fair I've been to have much crazier operated rides, especially in the flat ride department. Back in the U.S., the Biggie in Western Massachusetts is good every year. Amazing food, lots of farm exhibits, and they have a pretty good midway from North American. I always forget the name. I think it's North American Midway. Griff, Tatsu or Flying Dinosaur? I prefer Flying Dinosaur. It's more forceful start to finish. Great visuals and some airtime too. Logan Powell, how would you rank every coaster at Alton Towers? So Nemesis is easily number 1. Then I'd probably put Smiler. Then I'd probably put Rita and Oblivion next to. I have not ridden Wicker Man next, so I don't know where that would place. Coaster Hour, good fit coaster-wise for Alabama Adventure. I'd love to see him get some sort of looping coaster. So like something like a Gerstlauer Eurofire would be great for them. Big C, just a good tip. Good time to go to Orlando is the week after Halloween, as it's dead. Yeah, I've been to Orlando in mid-November, and it's been pretty quiet. So that definitely makes sense. Pigs are my friends. One, what park didn't feel safe to you? I'm trying to think of that one. So I think it's more like you can just have a bad day at any park if you run into the wrong guest. There hasn't been a park where I've been like, fearing for my life or anything like that. Julian Gonzalez, favorite ride, Great America. If you mean California, Railblazer, I love the original Raptors. If you mean Six Flags Great America, Max Force, that launch is amazing. Good night, Quackin' Coaster Channel. Keith at King 25, Todd Joseph should be fined. Yeah, if they didn't have a demolition permit, especially if that ride was supposed to be protected in some way, I could see them coming after him. Carson Wentz, what do you think should come to Hershey Park next? I'd love to see them add. So one of the things I think that park really needs, especially after going to their Christmas event, it's clear they have issues with temperature every single year where a lot of the thrill rides have to close. I would love if they could get another really like weather robust ride if they have to build another indoor one or something. Just because Hershey Park, especially if they're open through Christmas. This year, I think they're open like every single day in December. There were a lot of days Canobie couldn't run. There were a lot of days like Wildcat couldn't run due to like precipitation and like cold temperature. I'd love to see them get another indoor ride. I just don't know if they'd pay for it, considering they already have laugh track. Yep, Twisted Whiskers, I'll check my DM. Griff, have you ever ridden the Facoma Giant Inverted Boomerang at Parque Warren Madrid? Yep, I rode Stuntfall. I definitely miss those old trains being on Goliath at Six Flags New England. I love the drops in those things. Idiot Cow, if Knox gets the Giga, when do you think CGA will get their next coaster and what will it be? I hope CGA gets a hyper at some point. I heard the rumor it was canceled originally because I guess they didn't get the attendance increase they were hoping for, but I hope it happens someday. Keith the King, Orion or Leviathan? I prefer Orion's layout. So this will be the last question I answer. Like I said, I wanted to hop off. Pigs are my friends. One, don't go to Silver Dollar City anytime at least 4 days before, 2 days after. Are you talking about Christmas with that? Sorry, I don't know which one you're talking about, but I went in early December, very quiet on weekday, but it was very busy on a Saturday. But fortunately, Outrun usually never has a line, even on busier days. So that's one of the things I love about Silver Dollar City. Even if you're on a busy day, you can still enjoy the atmosphere, and their best ride almost never has a line. So that's it for the stream. Thanks to everyone for joining in. I'm glad I actually was able to stay up to date with the questions in the chat this time. Usually I fall way behind. Yeah, thanks again for enjoying the videos. I like making them, and hope you guys have a good night. So see ya.